Hello out there, world. What is going on? It's your boy Tommy on the spot, and today we are going to preview the 2019 WWE Elimination Chamber. Big time WWE show tomorrow night. We're just 24 hours away from the big show, and so I figured, why not? Let's jump on here with you guys. Let's break down the entire card and preview every match with my predictions of what I think is going to happen. And I'll probably do these more so on, I'll give you guys a little of what I want to see happen and then what I think is going to happen. Before we get there, though, thanks so much for checking us out here on Watch Along Wrestling. Make sure if you like what you see, you do hit that subscribe button. Turn on all the notifications because we are going to be chock full of wrestling content throughout the week. Everything from live streams to reviews to whatever. I mean, we're going to have a ton of fun WWE content, wrestling content up there for you guys to kind of chomp into and hopefully enjoy. I am Tommy on the spot. Thanks so much again for giving us a shot here today. I know there's a lot of places you guys can go for your predictions, so to get an idea of what I want to see happen truly does mean a lot. You can also follow me over on Twitter at WatchWrestlePod. It's extremely interactive with you guys over there. And if you're watching along live right now, while the show is going on, there's a live chat open, so make sure you guys say hello and let me know that you are watching along. So it would be great to talk with you guys, and we can take it from there. All right, so Elimination Chamber 2019, this has always been one of my big favorite events going on annually for WWE, especially kind of ever since they instituted that this was going to be something that WWE was going to start to do. And I feel like they started doing this with, like, No Way Out 2008-ish. Could be wrong on that. And then eventually transitioned into Elimination Chamber getting its own pay-per-view. It's become a semi-annual tradition. They kind of steered away from the Chamber for a little bit. There was that random year they had it in like May when the big part of the Chamber was the Intercontinental title match. It's the one where Bryan had to relinquish the belt. Ryback ended up winning, and he had to give the belt to Ryback. I think they also had a tag Chamber match that year. That was in 2015, I believe. But thankfully they've instituted and brought it back. So let's break down the card before we get into each match. Hey, what's going on out there? Dylan Ketchum, my main man over on Twitter. Thanks so much for subscribing and for checking us out here. Really means a lot. And it's always great to talk with you and everyone else out there on Twitter. So thanks for tuning in live here. That's super cool of you. And definitely want to hear your thoughts on the Chamber as well. So shout them out, and I'll let the folks know what you're thinking as well. But all right, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. There is 2 Chamber matches tomorrow. Obviously, it is the finals. I don't really know if it's the finals as much as it is the crowning of the first ever, quote unquote. Obviously, there was WWE Women's Champions back in the day, back in the late 80s. But the first time in a long time, there is Women's Tag Champs that will be crowned tomorrow night. In that match, you got the Boston Hug Connection, Sasha Banks and Bayley. You got Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka. You've got the Riott Squad members, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Then you've got the IIconics, Peyton, Royce, Billie Kay. You've got the team of Carmella and Naomi. And then you have Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. So those are your 6 teams. That's your first of 2 Chamber matches. The second Chamber match, and I'm not sure which one of these is going to close the show. Something tells me with the world title on the line, they might have the men's title match go on last, since it is for the title. It will be Daniel Bryan defending against Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and just added to that match on Tuesday, Kofi Kingston, who's really been kind of the talk of the whole wrestling world, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Then you have a no disqualification match. This was made no DQ over the weekend. It is going to be Baron Corbin again against Braun Strowman. Then for the Intercontinental Championship, it's a handicap match. You've got Bobby Lashley teaming with Lio Rush to defend the Intercontinental Championship against Finn Balor. Then for the Tag Team Championships, you've got the team of McMiz, Shane McMahon and The Miz taking on the Usos. And then you've got on the pre-show, you have your other title match on the show is going to be your Cruiserweight Championship, Buddy Murphy defending the title against Akira Tozawa. Then we also have the, Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott. So that should be another good match there. And that's the card. Now, one thing I do like about the card, I have to say this off the bat, I like the fact there's only 6 matches. The WWE is big on if they see that there's an issue with something, they try to, at some points, like, and I mean this from a perspective of length of shows, so to speak, they do try to sometimes kind of cure that problem right when they see it happens. They've done this with the Hall of Fame. They realized in the beginning that the Hall of Fame was something that was going on way too long, so they tried to make it 5-minute intervals where each person would go out and just talk for 5 minutes, and then they'd have to get off the stage. Maybe it was 10 minutes. Then they realized that wasn't any good. But I think they definitely saw that last month at the Royal Rumble, the show was far too long. They had 7 matches on the show, 2 of which were Rumbles, so you know those are going to have to be an hour long, and that kind of really dragged the show on. I was at that show in Arizona, and it really, while I really enjoyed the Rumble, it definitely went on for a lengthy period of time. You know, that 5 hours is too long. And so I think with having 6 matches here, with the 2 chamber matches that you know are 30 minutes each, then you know they want to try to lengthen that show out and make it at most 4 hours. I mean, there's folks that have to get up early tomorrow, the next day. I know it's a holiday weekend, but sometimes folks still need to get up early and do our thing, certainly internationally. So I'm glad to see that. That being said, I do think this show is really missing that great match. I'm sure the Cruiserweights will be good. The chamber matches will be good. I would have really loved to see Rey Mysterio and Andrade one more time. It's a shame those guys are not on the show. Hopefully they'll get added at some point. Sometimes they add a match last minute. I'd love to see those guys get in there and continue their story, because it's one that was a real highlight of SmackDown for a little while. And then for whatever reason, they've kind of steered away from that a bit. So that would really be something that I think would really benefit the show, to have that match on the show. So who knows? But at the end of the day, I think they've done a good job with the chamber matches, and that's the point of the show. All right, now that we've laid out everything, let's get on. And Dylan, I see your comments there. I'm going to get to them as I go through each part of the matches there. So let's start off. It's going to be Buddy Murphy, who's really kind of in many ways revitalized the Cruiserweight division with his reign. I've loved it. Started on my birthday, October 6th. Never forget waking up, seeing the Super Showdown, that great moment of him winning the title in Australia. I thought was awesome. And Buddy Murphy's really done a good thing there. And I think he's been a really strong Cruiserweight champion. Right after Cedric's run, I think they needed that stabilization of the Cruiserweight division. And if you've been sleeping on 205 Live, by the way, let me quickly transition to this. Go out of your way this past week, 205 Live, Noam Dar. He had one hell of a match with Tony Nese. If you go out of your way to watch this, this was great. It was a really strong match. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." The crowd was holy shitting. And you know that post-SmackDown crowd, sometimes it's hard to win them over when 205 Live is out there. So great, cool stuff going on. And it was something that I really enjoyed that match. I really enjoyed 205 Live. I've really been enjoying it recently. I think it's been really good. And I thought Aiden English also has been good on commentary. Buddy Murphy will be defending the title against Akira Tozawa. It's kind of half of the 4-way that opened up the Royal Rumble and was very good on the pre-show. On the kickoff show, rather. I know they don't like being called the pre-show. I expect Buddy to retain here. Akira Tozawa has already held the title. And I think that Buddy is going to be retaining that title into WrestleMania and beyond. I do not expect the title change. I like Akira Tozawa, but it doesn't feel like he's a guy that they're fully getting behind there. And Aiden also says he wants Buddy Murphy to win, but he thinks Akira might win the match. All right, well, we'll have to wait and see. That's going to be interesting to kind of to follow there. But my prediction in that match, I'm thinking that Buddy Murphy keeps that belt. Buddy's he has a really interesting story. He's a guy who was a tag team champion down in NXT, and then after a while ended up not being on television for like 2.5 years, ever since they broke him away from Wesley Blake, and then was able to kind of finally get into 205 Live and really find his niche. So I'm excited about that. I hope that Buddy Murphy continues to hold the title. But that match, turn on the pre-show early, guys. Watch that match. It's going to be fantastic. And I'm sure it'll be, sure it'll completely blow everyone away if you give it a chance. So that's a reason to tune in to the kickoff show. I can tell you right now, you could tell the 205 Live guys, the Cruiserweights, they really are all out there kind of in that team together, doing what they can do to kind of establish this 205 Live brand. They've all really bought in, and they're all really excited about it. So that could be fun. All right, next up, we're going to be doing another. Now, moving on to the show proper. You have the no disqualification match, Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. I'm hoping that this is the end of this feud. It's just gone on, and you know, and I'm not to say that it's all been terrible. I've enjoyed some of Braun's antics and craziness. Braun needs an emphatic win, and this just needs to be done. I'm starting to worry about Braun a little bit. Again, now we're getting to the point with WrestleMania out there where it looks like Braun Strowman will not have another match in which he's going to be going on and not have anything on WrestleMania. The guy's been a stabilizing force in the main event scene on Raw really for the last 3 years. 2 years ago, he was inexplicably in the Andre Battle Royal. Last year, the stuff with Nicholas for the tag titles, which I know my boy JC thoroughly enjoyed. But you know, that's not where he should be. And you know, they've really done a number on Braun's character. I think he needs an emphatic win. He's got to move past this entire Braun Strowman feud. I mean, Baron Corbin feud. My prediction is that he will. I think Braun Strowman is going to destroy Corbin, and then I think out of that you'll start to build towards Strowman and McIntyre for WrestleMania. All right, moving right along and down the card there, Intercontinental Championship. It is a handicap match. It's going to be Bobby Lashley teaming up with Lio Rush to take on in a two-on-one handicap match Finn Balor. I don't see any point in having Lio Rush in this match unless he's going to take the pinfall. That's how I see this going here. That's why you put him in the match. You give him a situation where, you know, Balor beats him and costs Bobby Lashley the title. I hope they don't. They aren't thinking of splitting Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush, because I think Lio has really added a lot to that character of Lashley. What I will say, and what I think about there, is that I'd love to see Balor and Lio Rush kind of go at it for a bit, because Lio Rush is phenomenal in the ring. I know some folks over on Twitter and on YouTube, and some folks I've read comments for, feel like that Lio Rush is not getting his just due based on where he's at right now in the card. Listen, this guy is swig of water real quick. This guy is he's having you know, he's a profile spot on Raw, teaming with Bobby Lashley, and he's having good matches still on 205 Live. Show a little patience here. Every time he's been in there, and he's been getting in the ring a lot more on Raw, his matches have been really, really good. So I think that hopefully Lio Rush and Finn Balor will be able to go ahead and you know, Lio Rush and Finn Balor be able to mix it up, and then you continue with Bobby Lashley on there. So I do expect Finn Balor to win the title, and you know, they're going to try to, you know, I think he gets the win over Lio Rush. And Aiden in the chat there says Finn Balor's going to win the Intercontinental Championship. Lio Rush sucks, and Bobby Trashley sucks. A little homage, I guess, to JD from NY with the Trashley there, but I like it. So good stuff. Moving right along, then down the card, it's going to be Ronda Rousey against Ruby Riott. This is your typical, and they've done it many, many years. Back in 2011, we watched the Elimination Chamber last week. You can go ahead on the archives and check out that full call of the Elimination Chamber 2011 show. You had Alberto Del Rio take on Kofi Kingston, and kind of just a match just to profile Alberto. Fast forward to 2014, you had Batista versus Alberto Del Rio at this point, and Alberto was there just to profile Batista. That's exactly what this match is. There is an added wrinkle of the idea that now Charlotte is going to be there. She's going to be out there, and she's going to be kind of sitting ringside there during the match. So that'll continue to build up that match with Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. But I think Ronda's going to win this match. I just hope that Ruby gets something, because I do like Ruby Riott. I think that she does well in anything she's been given. I think the Riott Squad is kind of on the rise there. And I think that Ruby having the opportunity to be in this match, hopefully she could showcase what she can do. And at the same time, I really think that, you know, Ruby is somebody who hopefully can move up the card at some point and get a bigger, kind of a bit of a bigger push. That being said, I do think that Ronda Rousey is going to win this match pretty handily. It's a showcase for Ronda. What I am hoping here is I'm hoping they lay off on the Becky Lynch involvement on the show. She's been suspended a couple times now. I don't think she's missed a show. I know some people really want to see her come out. I love Becky Lynch. Let's give it a show or two to sell this suspension after Vince McMahon, so that when she comes out, the build will anticipate. And then whether that be at Fastlane, whether that be during Ric Flair's birthday celebration, whenever she does come out, it adds to the story and it'll be there. So, but I think Ronda definitely over Ruby Riott. Good to see that you guys in the chat also agree that Ronda should get that win over Ruby. Moving along, it's going to be the team of McMiz taking on the Usos. Now, yes, somebody Aiden in the chat asked me, hey, did I hear about Jimmy Uso's arrest? I did hear about Jimmy Uso's arrest, and it's not the first time this has happened. Unfortunately, it's again something where the way the situation is being explained is him and Naomi. Naomi was driving; she was going down the wrong way, down a one-way street. We've all been there, at least I have. But it's a situation where she was going down a one-way street the wrong direction. Ended up where the cops pulled him over, asked Naomi to step out of the car. Jimmy Uso, I guess, got upset by this. Who wouldn't? It's his wife. He's, maybe had something to drink. They said the car reeked of alcohol. Got out, supposedly ripped off his shirt, was challenging the police officers. He ended up getting arrested. Again, this is not the first time this has happened with the Usos. Jay Uso, I think just 1 year ago had gotten arrested for DUI, and I think that Jimmy Uso himself had a couple of years ago. So with that being said, do I expect that this match is going to be called off? Do I expect anything to happen in this match? I don't. WWE has made it clear that these guys are responsible for their own actions. That's the only statement that they've released about this. I don't think it's not to say something that they're going to be, and they didn't just ask, do I think that Jay Uso is going to have to find another partner? I mean, that I definitely don't think is going to happen. I think if anything, they'll replace the Usos entirely. They do not like to have the Usos teaming with anyone else. Even years ago, when Jey Uso was out for a long period of time, Jimmy Uso was just taken off television. He wasn't given anything else. I think he was even a commentator for a brief period of time, but he had never done anything singles. He had never teamed with anyone else. So it's kind of a situation where I expect this match to go on as planned, and I expect Shane and The Miz to retain. Now, I do think that long-term, the build is going to be for Shane McMahon versus The Miz coming out of all this at WrestleMania. I think that's the plan. I think that's where this is all going. But I think they'll give them at least one win to kind of establish themselves as tag champs, and then they do the change probably at Fastlane or sometime later on down the road at SmackDown. But I think at some point we're going to get Miz versus Shane McMahon. But I think the match goes on as planned tomorrow, and I expect Shane and The Miz to retain. That brings us already over to our 2 Elimination Chamber matches. Let's start with the tag team titles. This is, again, we kind of went through who was in the match before. I have 2 trains of thought with this. Number one, my head says one thing, my heart says another. My head says you want to use this to establish, strong heel champions. I thought actually that it was going to end up being Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose to kind of get a push behind them. They've been somebody that they seemingly are going to be someone to kind of get behind, and I feel like they've been getting a bit of a push. I thought that's the way WWE was going with this, but with them also starting off against Bayley and Sasha, I don't think they're going to run the whole table. So that being said, my head says the way this is going to go is that Bayley and Sasha are going to run through everyone until eventually Nia and Tamina come in, and they're just too much for the team to handle. Maybe they split Sasha and Bayley up, give the belts to Nia and Tamina, and I know that's going to be something nobody wants to see. I'm fully aware. That being said, though, I do expect that when it does all happen, it's going to end up being, your first big heel championships. That being said, my heart in this situation says that it's very important for the tag championships to be established as something really important. They've built these up for a long period of time. This was Vince McMahon's Christmas granting wish that he gave to everyone during the SmackDown Christmas episode. They've been building this for a while. This has been something that they've said they've wanted to establish as something being, something relatively serious. That being said, I feel like this is something they have to get behind. They have to really build up the women's tag team division. I expect fully that this match is going to be on WrestleMania and for the tag championships. And so with that being said, you do need a strong first ever champions. This is not a situation where the belts are going to be making whoever holds them. It's going to be a situation where whoever's holding the belts makes that championship something that is prestigious and something that is taken seriously. So that being said, I agree with Aiden in this chat, and I think that Sasha and Bayley are going to run through everyone, and they win the women's tag team championships. This brings us to our main event, and I have a couple of different trains of thought about this main event. And by the main event, I do mean the men's world title match. And I will say, I'm not 100% sure that is going to close the show. It might be the women's title match, the tag titles. They've built that up for a while. That's been something people have kind of gotten behind. It very well could end up that the women's tag titles closes the show. But I think it's going to be the world title match, and that's Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston. Now, Kofi had a huge showcase on SmackDown. Went through three of the participants in the Elimination Chamber before eventually falling to the calf crusher there. AJ Styles got the win. That being said, and then obviously Randy Orton got the win at the end. Ended up giving a big RKO out of nowhere. He gets the win. He's entering the chamber last. So a couple trains of thought I have on this. Number one, great to see Kofi get that showcase. Probably really sad if you're a fan of Mustafa Ali, because I think that was probably what was going to happen if Ali was in that match. I think he was going to run through everybody. But Kofi's a guy who I feel like this guy should have got the belt 10 years ago. That's right, back in 2009 when he was doing the boop, boop off the top in Madison Square Garden, and the whole crowd was so behind him, and he had the feud with Randy Orton, and he was really getting that push. And then it all went to hell, and it did never fully got there. The New Day is one of the most over acts in all of the WWE. They have huge merchandise sales every WrestleMania. Why not go with the hot hand here and see what you have in Kofi Kingston? That's part of what I think could happen. That's one train of thought I have. You could also then build it up where now you have, maybe you could tease that dissension. You want to try to break the New Day away. You could have it a situation where maybe they have Kofi's back, but at the same time, maybe Big E or Xavier get a little jealous of Kofi. Number two, this would really be a great opportunity to take advantage of the fact that Kofi Kingston has been the talk of the wrestling world for an entire week. If this sounds familiar, it's because 1 year ago, Seth Rollins was basically put in the exact same situation. He had an unbelievable match on Raw. He went through 2 or 3, I think it was Cena and somebody else, and had a really good showcase about, for the Elimination Chamber. And it looked like for a week, it was like he was in there for over an hour. He looked great. This is the guy they got to get behind. He had all the momentum in the world going into the Elimination Chamber, and he didn't even make it to the final 2. So hopefully WWE has learned from their mistakes, and maybe they see that, hey, just go with the hot hand once in a while. What have you got to lose? Change plans. Crowd's into Kofi. People are excited. People are putting SOS music over on Twitter. Why not get behind it and see where you can go from there? So that is one train of thought that I have. Another train of thought is, boy, if they get to a situation where Kofi's running through everybody and Kofi gets right there till the end and they want to turn Big E, that would be the time to do it. You want to get a big monster heel, Big E costs Kofi the match. If the crowd's super into it, that would really be the way to do it. That'd be a lot of fun. So that could be another train of thought. Another train of thought is I'd hate to see Daniel Bryan lose this title. He's really establishing himself. People are getting behind him. I would love to see this, and I would love to see him keep the belt through WrestleMania and then beyond. And I feel like they've really invested a lot in Daniel Bryan. They have the new hemp title. They have given him Eric Rowan. They're just starting to really continue to build up that title reign for him. So that could be something where I'd hate to see him lose the belt. So if I do think, and I see Aiden in the chat there says he'd like to see Samoa Joe win the belt, I think if anybody is going to win the belt based on kind of where their momentum is right now, Samoa Joe's a guy that can certainly do that. My pick's going to be that Daniel Bryan retains, though. I think if Daniel Bryan retains, I think he finds a way to weasel his way out, keep that belt moving forward. If the title does change hands, though, I think you're right. I think Samoa Joe would probably be the most logical choice. But, man, if they want to just go with the hot hand, which is not typically something WWE does, Kofi Kingston could be something to watch and something to look out for come Sunday. So to recap, as I take yet another swig of water, Daniel Bryan retaining at the Elimination Chamber. Sasha and Bayley, your new tag team women's champions. Finn Balor, your new Intercontinental champion. Buddy Murphy retains on the kickoff show for the Cruiserweight Championship. Braun Strowman over Baron Corbin. McMiz retain, and Ronda Rousey over Ruby Riott. Those are my predictions for the Elimination Chamber 2019. Thanks so much for everyone who has tuned in live and watched along. Tomorrow, at some point during the Elimination Chamber show, we will be streaming live. My plan is to do both Elimination Chamber matches. At worst, we will certainly do the one that's the main event. Whichever one that is, for sure we'll be on. But hopefully we'll be able to jump on with you guys during both those chamber matches, have 2 different streams going, 2 different live chats. It's going to be fun. So make sure you tune in and you subscribe. And again, thanks so much for you guys giving me some bit of your Saturday night here. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Dylan Ketchum for chumming along and jumping in that live chat. And for everyone else who did as well. So it's been great talking with you guys. follow along, and who knows, might even be on early tomorrow as well. So subscribe to Watch Along Wrestling. Follow me on Twitter at WatchWrestlePod. And until next time, everybody, you take care and enjoy Elimination Chamber 2019.